Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Well then, what an incredible race we had at Bahrain last video, the first race of the season, and it certainly did not disappoint. If you haven't seen that, I'd advise you to click off the video now before I start talking about it, because it was a truly incredible Grand Prix. But of course, if we head over to the standings part of it, we'll just refresh ourselves with that race. It was just incredible. Of course, there's incidents. I am still need to definitely give a good apology to Lando there. His AI got a bit messed up because of us. The first incident was entirely my fault. Just lost it on the curb, and somehow he was there. We just went into him. He ended up directing us then to spin around, and somehow ended up cutting onto the gravel trap through the corner, and then ending up actually on the track as Vettel then went into the back of us and somehow didn't take front wing damage. And then, of course, second incident with Lando Norris was generally not my fault. I left him plenty of space there. And he ended up just swerving out and catching us and then spinning. But what a race. As you'd expect, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez, they were at the top. But Lewis Hamilton's grid penalty meant that he was nowhere near the cars he should have been. That was, well, fair enough, if he's been taking people out in qualifying, the third part of it, then fair enough. But he was then managed to get up to fifth, so a really good result for him to be salvaging that. I think the safety car helped him because he was so far back off the start by having to then overtake all the slower cars because he dropped further back, even further back from where he was. He dropped back behind the Alfa Romeos and Williams, so on. And then, of course, Daniel Ricciardo did really well for McLaren. So did Pierre Gasly for AlphaTauri and Carlos Sainz for Ferrari. The three of them, they got a good position off the start. They stayed there. They didn't get involved in anything with us. They didn't get engulfed, in a sense, by the midfield pack of our team, Aston Martin. Granted, Gasly is in the midfield pack, but generally he's higher up, and of course then the Alpines, but they managed to get a decent start. They were just consistent. They were ahead of us once we'd had the incident with Lando by about 10 seconds, that group. And they just took home decent points. And great for AlphaTauri there. Pierre Gasly taking 8 points. That's going to be hard for us to top him. I don't think we're going to be able to really top AlphaTauri in the championship. But it was pretty apparent one thing, was that Alpine certainly the weakest of them at the moment. You saw Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon. You got 12th for Alonso, 14th for Ocon, both of them on the one stop. They just couldn't really get going at any point. They were the bottom of the midfield fight, because then you get further down there. Of course, our teammate was down there. He had a bit of a disaster. And Carlos Sainz, as his teammate, Charles Leclerc, certainly didn't do as well. Leclerc had a decent start, but then after the safety car, he filtered out quite far down the pack, and he never recovered from that. He got stuck in traffic, couldn't overtake those slower cars, and he ended up finishing 10th. Lance Stroll was 9th, taking 2 points for Aston Martin. Meanwhile, Leclerc behind him couldn't get the overtake on him. He was like 2 seconds behind. We managed to overtake Stroll at the final corner. Sad we didn't catch that. We catched it on the main straight afterwards. And we managed to get 4 points for the team in our debut, so not too bad a result at all, not too shabby. 10th to 8th, of course, with Hamilton getting the grid penalty, promoting us up into the top 10 for the start of the race. So a really good result for us. Vettel just missing out there. 11th is pretty solid considering he was on the two-stopper, and he was starting in 9th, so not too bad, because generally those further down, like in 10th place, they generally drop quite a way down in the Grand Prix. Norris, of course, having their disaster. We all know why that happened. Then you've got the Williams of Russell, then we've got Raikkonen and Giovinazzi. Of course, Raikkonen had a bit of a disaster. He ended up going off track near the start. Giovinazzi went for the two-stopper, highly ineffective. Then the Tifi, our teammate, ended up spinning out towards the end. It would have been a promising result, but he ends up finishing 19th. Mazepin was 20th, and then Tsunoda and Schumacher didn't finish. So, really interesting start to the season. Of course, we're in 6th as a team. If we could end up 6th at the end of the season, I'd be extremely happy with that, because I definitely think we might have the upper hand on Aston Martin Alpine. But enough about the last race. We've got the next race to move on to at Imola. We're doing qualifying in this video, but before we can get into it, we've got some upgrades to have a look at, as I'm sure you can see here in the R&D chart. We're still ahead of Alpine. We're just trying to stay there. I did get another upgrade going last weekend. The powertrain engine power ignition system. It is a minor part, but that will be in for the 19th of April, which is after Imola, sadly. So not exactly what we were hoping for, but the streamlined suspension arms will be coming in very soon. Before that, though, we've got a personnel department.
Team must have run this one past you.
Okay, and a lot of old or outdated equipment across our various sites. This is a new team, so I wouldn't say it'd be old and outdated, but I don't know why you've gone and invested in old outdated things. Phasing it out. Investing. Okay, yes. So, well, we can either lose 50k cash or gain 750 R&D points. But I definitely think losing 50k cash is definitely worth the 750.
Well. Thank you.
R&D points there. The R&D points are going to be crucial. 50k is quite a bit, but I think it's worth it. Then what have we got? Power department focus, aerodynamics equipment upgrade. We'll go with that. We'll start with that. LVG force training. That'll help my teammate. Driver promotion filming. Second driver PR filming. Sponsor event in-depth factory tour. I'm going to go with this. I'm not going to bother with the power department focus because that's not going to help. It's only 30 R&D points. It's not a massive amount. On the R&D then, we have got that one in for 16 days. So we can't actually get another one of these going at the moment because we've only got one simultaneous upgrade allowed as it stands. Don't really want to invest in too much with us having only 1.46 million. So we could invest in the quality control, but I really would want to work in probably fabrication and R&D generation. So what we've got left is we can of course do another upgrade in chassis. We can go for the monocoque structure, or of course there is the other upgrade. We could do that for gearbox, improved materials. But if you do have a look at that, we are really up there in the reliability, so I don't think we need to do that right now. That wouldn't, I don't think, be in for the next race. This one would be in for just after Imola, so that would be a possibly good decision there. Meanwhile, if we went for the gearbox improvement materials, that would be in for just after Imola. So we might as well go in for the chassis monocoque structure major. Only a 24% failure chance. That should be in for the Spanish Grand Prix. And that will really boost us up ahead of the midfield fight in terms of the chassis. So we've got that upgrade in there. Now we're just going to sim a bit. Hopefully our streamlined suspension arms coming on the 14th. We won't have a problem. We're going to the aero department.
What can do with your expertise on this one?
There was an accident at the gym this morning. A member of the aerodynamics department was hurt. Though luckily not seriously. Still we risk seeming a bit cavalier. If we don't look like we're taking it seriously, what should we do? This is not what we needed. We lose Team McLean or second driver experience. Neither of which I want to do. But I almost do think as if losing Team McLean is almost the better option here. I think we might have to go with losing Team McLean. But then again, you know, we can't afford to lose. Team McLean is going to get us more money to grow the car, so I'm going to go with the second driver experience.
The department appreciate it.
That's such a hard thing to decide. That. My teammates now got 32 experience. Of course, there are the different driver perks, and you can get these. Engine wear reduced. Driver acclaim will be boosted. Unlock additional answers. And resource point income will be boosted. So yeah, there we go. That's a bit of a tough one. Hopefully we get a positive one sometime soon. Maybe regarding our teammate to actually help him. But that's not happening. And here we go. An event for durability.
For us, please?
Lucas Webber wants a tour of the durability department. Potential to be a nice acclaim boost. But it's a bit of a distraction. Right, well, we don't actually have the R&D points to get rid of, so we'll just click decline on that one.
But you handled it well.
Not an easy decision, mate. Yeah, say that, mate, because there's only one possible option for us to go for there. But anyway, we just need a little bit more team acclaim, and we will be able to get our second sponsor. So I'm pushing for that. And we've got that other sponsored event, and we are going to be able to get our second sponsor for the team. So we've got Disto down to Zinetto. I'm sure I've pronounced that wrong. So you get, of course, the goal bonus and then weekly income for each race. So, of course, the higher the weekly income, the better, you know. But then if you've got a really decent goal bonus and you can hit that goal bonus, then that will be quite interesting. Zinetto, Canzaro, and also what looks nice on the car. That sounds ridiculous. Highland, overtake 5 different drivers during a race. They've got pretty solid there, 100. Distote, 105. That's actually better than Highland. Complete all practice programs, and I doubt that's going to happen. Equinox, score Constructors Championship points during a race weekend. That's not something you can really guarantee. We want something possible. Out-qualify your rival with Utilp. I don't want to pronounce that. Gedan Kerbutangren. Complete a race with no tears. God, I can't say that. Highland, yeah, and then you got Loop. As a team, complete a total of 10 laps during practice. That's a bit easy. Opaque. Polar. You know, that's a bit easy. 10 laps during a race weekend. That's pretty much guaranteed. I want something that's going to be a bit of a challenge for us. We're going to go with Highland as one of our sponsors at the moment. And actually, I think we can add that onto the car here. If we just add on that sponsor decal, we've got Zenith Dynamics on the side here. And we could put Zenith Dynamics, I think, on the front wing, because that's one of the main sponsors. But on the side, we're going to put Highland. And then there's another little spot there. I don't want one there, I don't want one there. And then we'll put Highland on there too. So now we're just jazzing up the livery a bit more with our new sponsor on there and adding another Zenom Dynamics one. Right, then let's continue with simming through. We haven't got that long now until the Grand Prix.
Our new parts
And
completed
there
without
we
issue.
go.
They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
We've got that aero upgrade in, but sadly for us, it seems as if we've dropped a little bit further down in the R&D chart because we've dropped below Alpine. The gap between us seems nothing, but yep, that's fine. We've dropped a little bit below, but as you can see, we're pretty much on par. Then Aston Martin and AlphaTauri getting away a bit, but you can't forget that we have got those massive upgrades that are going to be coming in. We've got 3 of them waiting, but they're sadly not going to be in for the next race. We are still pretty close to Alpine, so it's all to play for as we head towards the Imola Grand Prix. But first, of course, qualifying. Before we get into that, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. But now it's time, I think, to get ready for some action. Here we are then, time for some qualifying at Imola. I've kept you waiting with a bit of me chatting for a while, but it's time for some qualifying at Imola. The practice pace in FP1 was very promising. We were right up there in the top 10, and hopefully we can continue that through to quali. But as you can see, for Q1, 2 and 3, we've got some mixed weather conditions. In 30 minutes time, we will have rain, which does mean that I'm guessing Q1's going to be dry. Q2 is going to be hopefully dry for most of it, but then Q3 it's going to be wet, and we're probably going to be getting into some of these wet tyres. We're going to be getting into the inters, and then possibly even the wet tyre compound, because it looks like it's going to really start bucketing it down very quickly. So it's going to really change. It's going to go from sunshine and clouds to absolutely bucketing it down like it's a thunderstorm. So it's going to be quite heavy rain later on. So let's just get out on track I'm pretty confident that we're easily going to get out of Q1 after our pace in free practice. So I think we'll just put in a lap on the softs, and then we might need an extra one after that, but that should definitely be enough to get us out of the first part of qualifying. Here we are then, our first lap in Q1 as we go very deep into the penultimate corner. I say that, it's actually the third to last corner because the final corner is this little kink, but it's not really much of a final corner. Anyway, here we go on our first lap in qualifying at Imola, Q1. As I was saying, I was very happy with our pace. In fact, we ended up second in FP1. Granted, though, only one of the Mercedes had gone for the softs. None of the Red Bulls had gone for the softs. But that one Mercedes was Lewis Hamilton, and he was less than a tenth in front of us. So that just proves to you how little the gap was between us. But I was absolutely getting into the zone, because at Imola, once you start pumping in laps, they are really good quality generally. Well, personally for me, I really enjoy this track, and one of my best tracks, and that's going to be costly on our first lap here. A massive chunk of oversteer in the second sector, and this is not helping us. And as you can see, the Alpha Tauri, Pierre Gasly behind, catching up to us. We're gonna have to go straight away again. Q1 can become a little bit of a just go time trial session for a lot of cars. Even the front runners, they want to get some data to see what their strategy might be for Q2, whether they can go for the mediums. I don't know if we're going to be able to go for the mediums, but you can see that making that massive mistake, we're not exactly miles behind, which is always nice to know. Like, that lap itself wouldn't be enough to get us out of qualifying, but if we didn't make that mistake, it certainly would have been, I do think. So just sort of continue on this lap, not make a mistake in the middle sector, because that can be quite costly there, that oversteer. You lose a lot of time, it's uphill, quite frustrating, but I really do enjoy this track. It's quite unique. This is our Italian Grand Prix, but I actually prefer this track over Monza, you know. A bit odd, I'm sure there'll be some people wondering, like, how on earth do you prefer this over Monza? I think it's a nicer track to drive. It's still got the overtaking opportunities.
We think we may see some rain. ETA is about 15 minutes.
Oh dear, 15 minutes. So as I was saying, with the overtaking opportunities, you've got the overtaking opportunities, of course, down that lovely long main straight with a few little kinks in it. And you can get some great overtakes into the turn one. Fantastic overtaking opportunity, that is. You can go side by side through it. That section's fantastic. We've gone again. It's only 7th. Don't have much ERS left here, but we're going to try again. I do think we can go a lot quicker than what I've done, but yeah, not the best of ways to start the lap this time round, as we're just not really finding the grip where I want it. Trying to get the grip, trying to lay it down, but it's not coming for us here. So that beautiful pace we had in free practice, where we managed to get as a team 700 R&D points, same as Bahrain. I got 500, teammate Robert just 200. I'd love it if you could contribute a little bit more, but he is a rookie driver. So yeah, not too bad of a free practice session, as we end up going on a bit of a roller coaster all over those curbs. As you can see, we're going again. This is our 3rd lap. I don't usually do this, but around Imola I generally get better and better every single lap I do, as we maybe push track limits a little bit.
2 laps of fuel left.
On the exit there, 2 laps of fuel left, yeah. If I hook up these final 2 corners, this lap will certainly be enough here. It was a very sloppy first lap. The second lap I seemed to a little bit better, but we didn't get the pace. And now on the 3rd lap, that's enough for 9th, and I think that's going to leave us safe for quali, because we just gained 7 tenths. Well, Q1, it's looking pretty solid for us now. I think we're pretty much safe. As you can see, we are in 10th place. That's a very comfortable position for us to be in. The final sector-wise, not looking too bad. Neither are we in the first sector or the middle sector. We're pretty just solid in each one at the moment. But as you look further down the order, you can see Mazepin, Latifi, Schumacher, Schwartzman, Raikkonen and Alonso are at risk. Now, I was pretty much expecting the Haas's. Latifi, definitely. Alfa Romeo's, maybe my teammate, maybe Russell. But Alonso's going to need to go again. He's going to need to go again for a pretty decent lap. He's going to need to put in because he is in the danger zone. And to say that Alonso's in the danger zone in the Alpine, it's not great. But the Alpines certainly aren't displaying great pace. They are stuck around the Williams and the Alfa Romeos. As you can see, Ocon's only 15th. So it's pretty obvious that they're not doing that great on the R&D chart as we even drop below them, but our laps will certainly be enough. You can see behind it's then 4/10 back to Sebastian Vettel, and then you've got just behind him, well, it's 4/10 back to Lance Stroll, Sebastian Vettel and Yuki Tsunoda, and then from then you're looking at then like about 4/10 back there to George Russell, so we're pretty much safe there. 8/10 to where you need, like 8/10 to actually where the people would need to go again. I think George Russell and below would need to go again, possibly Tsunoda, Vettel and Stroll, but we're definitely safe. Looking at the front, Perez is absolutely flying in this one. He's ahead of Bottas, Hamilton and then Verstappen down in 4th. Well then, as you can see, we made it through pretty comfortably there. 10th place, we didn't drop down. I think everyone below us, I did think, went again. As you can see, Ocon made it out, Alonso improved, Russell made it out, and here we have the bottom 5. Nikita Mazepin will start 22nd with Latifi in front. Then in 20th, you've got Mick Schumacher for Haas, and then Robert Schwartzman, our teammate. Then you've got 17th and 18th on the grid. Antonio Giovinazzi leads his teammate Kimi Raikkonen for Alfa Romeo. George Russell makes it out by under 2 hundredths. So there's literally nothing in it. It's very close there. Just makes it out of qualifying, with Alonso improving to be next to his teammate, and then the rest are comfortably safe. But Perez is certainly looking good this weekend. Norris, hopefully he gets a good race after what happened last race. But I think that's pretty much all we need to look at for Q1, because we've lost those 6 drivers. No real shocks or surprises there, but George Russell just makes it through. Now then, Q2, it's arrived, and as you can see in front of the car, Imola certainly isn't looking fantastic, and it is sadly raining, and we're going to have to put on some inters. Let's hope that this doesn't dampen our spirit.
Intermediate tyres are your best bet in the current conditions.
So yeah, as you can see, inters, the best tyres. Wets are still slower, and then of course your dry tyres absolutely useless. You'll just be sliding around all over the place. We've got to guard inters, and it's going to be interesting to see how much grip there is out on track. And because the track's probably going to be getting wetter, we need to go out there and then get a lap in. Well, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, well that just sums up the amount of grip we have. You've got to test out the grip levels, and we have done, and the answer is there isn't any, really. It's very, very slippery out here. Of course, it's not full wet conditions, but it is slippery. Yeah, we're not blowing water all over the place, but yeah, the car is certainly not enjoying these conditions at the moment, as you've got to brake earlier everywhere. You've got to be a lot more gentle on the throttle, and the curbs are very slippery at the moment. Just avoiding them and trying not to go too deep into there. You don't want to get yourself in the gravel trap. Max Verstappen then has set the marker for the field. Of course, Perez was the quickest of everyone in Q1 by quite a bit, but maybe he was just pushing a bit more than Verstappen. And then Mercedes, of course, they'll be looking for a good result this weekend as we take a trip away from Accra Minerali there. I'm like, I ain't taking that. But yeah, it's going to be an important Grand Prix for Mercedes this weekend as we take a little bit of an unorthodox line through there. I am literally using this lap not to set a time, but to feel the track. But as I was saying, this is a crucial weekend for Mercedes. They are well behind Red Bull already in the constructors, because Red Bull finished first and third. Mercedes was second and fifth, which is quite costly for them. So it'd be interesting to see if Mercedes can come back. As you can see, we are not miles off the pace, but certainly are off the pace. So what I was hoping for was maybe a dry Q2, because I was very confident in the dry, and I also thought that there was a chance of us potentially in the dry being able to maybe get through on the mediums, and I wanted to see if we could do that. That would have been nice. Start the race on the mediums while the Ferraris and the McLarens aren't, as we've messed up here and it's absolute sliding all over the place here. We don't have any grip. Yeah, I think we're going to have to go again after this lap. Sergio Perez, there you go, 1 minute 25s now. Perez is absolutely flying around here. He's got some fabulous pace. I'd save it for Mexico, mate. We got that later in the season. The fans are going to be erupting at Mexico when they see Sergio Perez flying around there. Right, let's get this braking point right for the chicane this time. And we run very wide through there. The car's sliding around, but we get the chicane right this time. I haven't ended up cutting half of it off and riding over there. Good job we don't have sim damage on, unless I wouldn't have much of a floor left. As we then go very deep there. It's all about not going deep there. But when you're in the wet, you're just so tough not to go deep there. I think we're going to go again, as we don't go much quicker, but we go a little quicker. We seem to have I seem to have got a grasp of the grip levels now. We can actually go for a decent lap, as I can't even see the braking points at turn 1 there, because the screen's covered in rain, which is what you'd love to see, isn't it? The first sector, we're certainly not actually managing to find the pace we did on the first lap. But we're doing alright so far. Carry the pace through there. We don't make the same mistake as we did the first time round. And our first sector is decent. So, in front of us, of course, on the standings at the moment, George Russell. Of course, he's done really well to get out of Q1. But then again, you've got Latifi, Mazepin, Schumacher, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, and my teammate, and then Russell. Generally, 6 out of those 7 end up out of Q1. So, you know, one of them is going to make it out. And the man who made it out this time is, of course, George Russell. And he generally does pretty well in that Williams in real life. And also on the career modes, he doesn't do too badly either, as we go very deep into that corner there. This is going to not help our lap time. That was looking significantly better than before. Can we go quicker than Russell in the wet? We're really struggling, and we do. But it's just still not good enough here. We don't have the pace. And we're going to return to the pits. Well, then we've had a few laps to feel around the track and just see what it's like out there. Understand the grip levels. And sadly, we're down in 15th. We're quicker than Russell. Other than that, it's been a very frustrating qualifying so far, because I am really struggling on these tyres. But we're going to go out again in a second and try and get a decent lap in. I would like to be probably around, I'd love to be in 10th, but I'd love to be around like 12th. That would be a bit better if we could get there. If you look at 10th place at the moment, Alonso, nearly a whole second quicker than us. But I think we can actually put in a decent lap, so we're going to go out there and see if we can improve. I would have had a look at which sectors we were struggling in. I'd have had a bit more time, but there isn't any time to waste in this session, because of course it's on the wet. You're always constantly trying to find where you can push it a little bit more and more, to be able to get a better lap time, and where you shouldn't push it at all, really. So we've got enough time for this lap, and then another lap after it, which is always nice. So we can mess up this lap, go again, think, right, I'm going to do a really decent lap this time, and then mess up that lap, you know, as you do, as we slide through that corner there. That was a bit of a nerve-wracking experience. And then we go too deep into this corner there. That's costly. We've got no grip round here. And there we go. This lap is pretty much ruined by going too deep into it. So tough in the rain.
2 minutes remaining in the session. We need a good lap here, or we're out of qualifying.
I know, mate, but I think we're going to be out of qualifying. It's like, can we salvage something from what could have been such a promising session? I really did actually think that the start of Q2 would have been in the dry. Instead, though, we got Q2 the whole of Q2 in the wet. I was thinking that start of it would be in the dry, be able to go out there, put a decent lap in on the mediums maybe, and then if we were in the top 10, then we were safe because we were going to be then looking at into weathers, and the cars would just be a lot slower. So that was the plan. Of course, that would have been a risk because had we been outside the top 10 after putting on the mediums, then we would have had a bit of a problem. And everyone else is going to start their lap now. We're going to start our lap of Imola. That was supposed to be a lap this time, but wasn't, so I just slowed up through the final 2 corners to get going. Tap our end plate there on the wall. What a start. And now let's see if we can put something a bit better in and at least be ahead of the Aston Martins, maybe, I don't know, or an Alpine or something. Stroll and Ocon, we're aiming for those two because Alonso is going very nicely in the wet round here, as we do go decently in sector 1 here. It's all about getting the car slowed down there, just focus on getting the car slow. And you can get that nice and right through there. And we're actually quicker than Vettel in the first sector there, so we're improving, we're going quicker. I am just struggling. One thing I can tell you is that the thing is with Inters is that they don't wear that much, so you can put them on, get out on track to put some laps in, and you can just keep pumping them in. You can go lap after lap after lap because your Inters just don't wear.
These conditions don't look like they're shifting. We're predicting at least 20 minutes of heavy rainfall.
Lovely, mate, lovely. Heavy rainfall. Get in there. And we'll go very deep into that corner there, but we're actually a bit quicker, I think, than last time, and then we're not. I don't even know. Can we go quicker than Ocon, maybe? Maybe Stroll. And we're going to go and push. Russell's going quicker than us. And we jump up the order by 2 places or something. I don't even know. Disappointing qualifying session. Not what we wanted. There we have it, yeah. What a shame for us. We just didn't have the pace in the wet. We were just struggling for grip. We improved a little bit. Not to be, though, with our time there. And you can see 14th place. It was an improvement on what we had before the first set of runs. Of course, we went better than Esteban Ocon, but it does give us a chance in the race to go forward. Maybe we can jump into the top 10 at some point in the race and get a potentially good result. A bit of a shame, though, there. 14th place. If you have a look at the front, Perez is looking great for a fantastic result. Again, quickest. Granted, not by as much as he was in free practice 1, but if he continues this form, he could be, Q1, he could be on for a decent pole position with Lewis Hamilton P2. Valtteri Bottas looking good. Max Verstappen, Ferrari seems to have the upper hand on McLaren in the wet. Then we got Pierre Gasly gets through. And then Fernando Alonso, despite Alpine being not that great compared to Aston Martin, he manages to make it through with Yuki Tsunoda out in 11th, Sebastian Vettel out in 12th, alongside teammate Lance Stroll, who's out in 13th. We take P14, a bit of a shame there, but it's not the end of the world as we finish ahead of Esteban Ocon for Alpine P15, and George Russell takes P16 for Williams. And there's the result of qualifying. We're going to get into the race next time and going to get to see what happened in the top 10 shootout in Q3, where they might have even had to have gone onto the wet tyre compound. But if you enjoyed this video, guys, don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time for the Imola race.